Welcome back to your Daily Dose. My name is Robert, here with Susan. We're talking dangerous stories in the world of Parkinson's. And we left off with last episode talking about the difference between acute and chronic illness. And just to give a quick definition, acute, something that can affect and potentially kill you immediately, and also has a potential for, a cure potential,
Yeah.
right?
Resolution. Yeah.
Resolution, right? Management, positive
Yes.
management, right?
Yes. Yes.
Cancer is the classic one that's brought out there, and you are a breast cancer survivor twice. You live with it. Doesn't mean you can't ever get it again.
Mm.
However, you, relatively speaking, don't have to deal with cancer because you've cleared protocols twice. Is that correct? Do I have that right?
Yes, you do. And I know where you're going. I want to tell you something my husband said at the time, which is relevant to what you're discussing. He said this with first breast cancer. He said, "You're really lucky that if you're going to have cancer, you've got one that has had so many people have it. There's so much research that's been done. There's so much we know about it. There's so much we know about the different ways to treat it." That's not true for Parkinson's. We have
Exactly.
one or two symptom options.
You nailed it. And I'm so glad you did. Again, your husband is a doctor so well. And I think this is where it gets mixed up in the medical community. They say you're lucky to have, or this, that, and the other. And within that field, that specific area, that kind of cancer, like you said, that makes sense because there is great treatment for what you had. In that sense, it does. But to say you're lucky to have Parkinson's is so, I'm just going to say, ignorant
Oh,
because it doesn't encompass the full spectrum of what Parkinson's is. Just because it doesn't have the effect of killing you or raising your mortality or lowering your mortality rate, or well, let's say it the right way, one or the other, that you'll die sooner necessarily, which we know is not a thing with Parkinson's, doesn't mean that it's not extraordinarily difficult to live with. So there is no that's a dangerous
yeah.
story. You're lucky to have. It's not that bad. And there are many medical people who offer that to people diagnosed with Parkinson's.
And you
And there
know
are
what
people,
else? Oh my
Parkinson's,
God.
say it. Go ahead.
Then they'll say, "You're not going to die." They think they're saying something helpful. You're
Right,
not going to
right.
die from Parkinson's. You're going to die with it.
Dangerous story.
A horrible thing to say to somebody.
Because why? Tell us why that's a
Oh.
dangerous and horrible thing to say.
It emphasizes the foreverness of it. It makes you feel even more subjected to victimhood. You know
Ooh,
that
good word.
you're
Good word.
you're already I don't know, got your concrete blocks tied to your ankles, and you know whether you get pushed off the cliff or not. You're gonna go. I don't know. It's
You're right. You nailed it, I think, because that's the part that's not understood is people say, well, if it's not going to kill you, suck it up. And it's like, no. That's not the same because you know what it is going to do? It's going to progress. And at
yeah,
some point, it's going to
yeah.
get worse. And at some point, God damn it, seeing my dad who's lived with us 23, it gets a lot worse. I can't people don't hear this enough. And this is why I know I need to make the fourth film. People don't see enough how painful it is to watch my dad barely be able to put a thought together, to barely be able to speak 23 years in. This is a proud man. You talked about good genes. His father lived to 94 with no problems. The last 2 years were a little rough for him, but my dad just turned 80 and is just struggling. He's in a world of hurt, and I hate it. Don't tell me you're lucky to have it or it's not that bad. I'm living with the man who did well in so many stages of his life and has been, and has been robbed of so many great years because of this disease.
Your passion. Your dad has served the Parkinson's community, and the future. I'm gonna cry. A Parkinson's research because of you, because you're so mad.
Well,
Sorry.
thank you for sharing your emotions, your tears, because here's the up and down, and we've talked about this that my dad and I, first 10 years, we're into this idea there's going to be a cure in 10 years. That was the story. It was a
It held
dangerous
you.
story,
That was the story.
right?
It
Then
held you.
we moved into, well, we're not going to worry about the cure. We're just going to focus on quality of life. Now, that wasn't a dangerous story, but it was an incomplete story because it probably took another 10 years in to sitting in a class with you and our good friend John Hurley to recognize, wait a minute, you know what? I am mad that this cure doesn't exist. I am mad about this. And that's part of the story that needs to be told. It needs to fairly be the fuel needs to be out there because people don't treat Parkinson's like it can be cured. And we know in situations like what we've done with HIV/AIDS, what we've done with polio, even social ills like drunk driving, when we get enough people behind it, enough energy and money, we at least are able to manage. Doesn't mean we cure it, but we can manage it. We're not managing Parkinson's well right now. Don't tell me DBS. Don't tell me carbidopa, levodopa. We're not managing it well, not as well as we could.
And it's the fastest growing degenerative neurologic disease. That's
Exactly.
terrifying.
That that is part of the whole story that can't be trumpeted loud enough. It's growing faster than ever. You have to care because it isn't because of a lifestyle choice that you necessarily get it. You get it because you're alive.
You have random bad luck.
Yeah, your genetics meet something in the environment. That's all we know.
Yep.
That's how broadly targeted we all are to this form of terrorism, this pandemic. So if you're not listening, if you don't think this story affects you, I hope this can serve as a wake-up call. I hope you'll read the blog. I hope you'll come talk to us. I hope you'll get involved. We all need to lift together to get the research to change the narrative of what Parkinson's is and how we get the research behind it to find a cure or at least a management that is reasonable because we don't have it right now.
Mm.
All right. Thank you, everybody.